So after the first video I posted about the WLmouse Beast X gaming mouse, I found that there were a lot of questions and a lot of people were interested about this mouse. I think the majority of people at first just wanted to see if this thing was even real, and spoiler alert, it's real. If you haven't seen the previous video, there's my initial impressions, and this video is going to be a more comprehensive view on what I think about this mouse. Now, I did say I was going to take like a week or two to review this thing, but I really ran it through its paces over the last 3 to 4 weeks, and I also got my Ultralight 2 in the mail, so I can give a more accurate comparison on which one I think you should buy. Now, the number one question I saw in the last video was, where can I get your pink version of this mouse? And the sad answer is right now you can't buy it. It seemed to be a limited colorway, and from a conversation I saw on the Discord, not a lot of people bought it, so they replaced it with the pink and blue, which I have a feeling even less people are buying because this pink was awesome. The color, the coating, the feel of this mouse is very, very good. If you're someone who really doesn't like holes, this mouse might not be for you. Another request I saw in the last video, you want to see more images of the actual mouse itself. So here are some close-ups so you can see kind of the whole layout. How these holes are arranged, there's not like any sharp edges or anything. So I know it looks kind of complicated on the inside, but a lot of that is internal skeleton and not on the outside. I also really appreciate that these holes in the back are angled perpendicular to where your thumb and fingers will go. So when I hold this mouse in my hand, I pick it up and I pull the mouse back into my hand very naturally because the holes are perpendicular to where my thumbs go, giving me a lot of grip on the mouse. And just, it's very simple. If they would have done it the other way, like I've seen some complaints about some other mice, primarily the one you're seeing on screen now, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it'll be on your screen. I've seen some complaints about that mouse having some issues with people not wanting to grip it the right way or having some holes on the side. But with this, it's all about the weight. It's all about getting that magnesium shell, and it's all about the highest performance per the dollar. And honestly, I'd say they hit their mark. 4K hertz polling with the included dongle, which is really cool, by the way. I'm going to get to that in a second. And a magnesium mouse that comes with glass skates, weighs 41 grams with skates and 39 grams without skates. So I'm assuming if you put something like the tigerized dots on this mouse, it would be exactly 40 grams. A very, very light package with 4K polling in a very accessible shape. The Finalmouse shape is the shape that I would most compare it to. Now, I saw some people asking for comparisons for something like the Viper. So here is the Viper right next to it. So there's your Viper. And this is a little bit smaller than the Viper, a little bit thinner, a little bit shorter. So it's a little bit smaller overall. And in the way that the nose of the mouse, kind of the button clicks come in, here's it compared to my Ultralight X in both size, shape, and form. Look at that here. It's very, very, very similar. The sizing of this mouse, if I could get it to focus again. But the sizing of the mouse is very, very, very similar to the Starlight shape. Now, I saw one comment offhandedly saying, hey, this is an Atlantis mini. And to that comment, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think it's that shape at all. I actually don't have an Atlantis mini, so maybe you're onto something and I don't know. But from looking online, it doesn't seem like they're the same shape. Here is my Lamzu Atlantis, my normal one. And if I get these really close and get my face out of the frame, they'll focus and they'll show you it's not really the same. Actually, I'm holding up the wrong mouse. There. We're seeing on the Lamzu Atlantis a much wider mouse. It's very, very, very comfortable for me. If I had to choose a mouse shape that I felt best suited me, the Lamzu Atlantis would take it. But I have been using the Ultralight X and the Beast X mouse a lot. Now, the real question about this is, which mouse would I recommend over the other? So with the Starlight Ultralight X, I think is what they're calling it now, versus the Beast X mouse, WLmouse. I never know which order to say these names in, the brand name first or the mouse name, but if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you know what these mice are and are interested in buying one or maybe both of these mice. And for my money, I would go with the Starlight purely because it does feel that little bit more refined. It feels that little bit lighter and it's just so smooth. The only rough point I can feel is within the scroll wheel. That's the real differentiating factor, as well as just how smooth. I don't know if that's the right word, but like this feels so complete. This feels very, very refined, whereas this feels like it's an imitation, and it's a very, very good imitation, but it's not quite exactly there. Now, the question is, knowing that the price is so much lower, being $40 lower shipped, or $40 or $50 depending where you are, and that's about 20% of the mouse. So is this 20% less money for basically the same product? And the answer is yes. The performance is there, the experience is there. It's very, very, very good on both of these mice. But if you buy the Finalmouse Ultralight X, you don't get the cube. So let's talk about the cube. The cube is the dongle that comes with the mouse. It is color matched, RGB controllable, and you can configure your own stuff to put on the display, whether it be images or GIFs. Now, in my little amount of time doing it, the GIFs are very, very slow to upload, and I prefer a static image anyways. So if you saw my last video, that had the Chainsaw Man thumbnail in there, and I love it. So I thought that looked great. The cable that comes with this mouse is so much better than so many other cables that come with mice nowadays. It is a color matched USB-C cable that works for both the dongle and the mouse. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the mouse that the mouse cable that comes with the Ultralight X, I think it's very subpar. It's very stiff, not meant for being used while plugged in. And while Finalmouse with the Ultralight X sent me what I would call apology item of sending me skates, or grips, I mean, the WLmouse or the Beast X mouse from WLmouse, they send out all that stuff like standard in the package. So everything that you would get as an extra, like you didn't just spend $200 on a mouse with Finalmouse, you're getting standard with this other mouse. So I think you're actually getting more out of there and more value. And for a lot of people, they were looking to buy this stuff anyways at this point. And maybe you don't want to use it, but it's a nice to have, especially since you know that you're already getting the cheapest price on the market for something at this performance level. The last thing I wanted to do here is I wanted to answer questions that I saw in my comments. People wanted to see different latency comparisons. I know I said that I would try to do them, but then I realized that I really didn't have the equipment, the expertise, or the knowledge. If you want to see latency comparisons, I would recommend waiting for someone else to do them, or if maybe someone else has already done them. Personally, I noticed no issues with slam cook prevention or hyper smoothing or hyper polling or the 4K. Like no issues with the software and performance of this mouse. It's been a great experience to use. I know that my driver experience was kind of weird. I was told to disable my antivirus in a Word document that then told me how to pair my mouse with the dongle. But I've heard that that experience has since been cleaned up, and people who ordered their mice just after mine don't have to do that, and it came fully updated with the latest stuff, and it just worked. So I assume those were some teething issues from a very early unit, hence why I have the pink one, which is not available anymore. I know that there are custom models coming out with some stuff available, so I'm actually very, very interested in getting one of those. I love the EVA series, and I think that if there was a mouse released for a reasonable price, not too much more, maybe $30 or $40 more than the initial price of this, making it cost very similar to the Ultralight X, then I might pick up a second one of these because I love it that much. And then this would also live on my girlfriend's desk because she loves that it's a very, very nice pink. To answer some more questions on here, some other people are looking to pick it up, but if this looks good, I might honestly save the extra 50. Honestly, if you're crunched for cash, saving the extra 50 bucks, basically 25% or more of this mouse cost, depending on where you live and shipping and everything, I mean, save the money. I think that this is an excellent, excellent option, especially if you're considering getting something like glass skates or any upgrades for your Finalmouse. You just stand to save more money by not getting it and getting this instead, which comes with those things as a standard. Oh, here's some of the things I want to talk about. Battery life at 4K was just over 10 hours for me. I used it for a full day at work and then some gaming at home. And I did that a couple different days and I got about the same performance. I've seen some other people get a little bit better performance, but it depends how actively you're using the mouse. At 2K and 1K, which I normally use this mouse at, I haven't had any issues with it compared to any of my other mice. I just plug it in sometimes and it works. I mean, probably less than once a week. Quite honestly, when one of my mice dies and runs out of battery or starts blinking at me, I just switch to a different mouse, which is not something that everyone can do, but that's just what I do. Some people eventually have never heard of this mouse before, so I know that I've reached kind of the normal people and not the enthusiast people and all the people who already knew what this mouse was before clicking on the video and just wanted to learn more about it. And that's another topic. I think this is a mouse for enthusiasts. I think this is not your Logitech killer or your Razer killer. I don't think this is going to replace the mice that you can go out and get at Best Buy. But for those people who are looking for that next step, but want to save some money, I think this could be it. It's really an enthusiast product that takes some finagling to get to its optimal level. Also, if you're in the market for a 39 gram mouse, you know, if you're looking for that level of performance, you gotta be an enthusiast in some way, shape, or form. But if you just want it to, that doesn't mean don't get it. I just don't think it's gonna kill the G Pro X sales or the Razer Viper sales or anything like that. I think it's an excellent addition to a collection. As for mine, I really love it. And it can honestly cycle out with my Ultralight X. So if you're thinking about getting an Ultralight X but want to save some money, give this a consideration. The buttons feel fine. The scroll wheel is plastic, which feels a little cheap, but like, so really I got nothing else to say about this. Some close-up shots of the mouse again for you as I cut out here. But one thing I do want to say is I did say I was going to make a video before this, and the reason I didn't is because I actually recorded 2 versions of this and I felt like I rambled too much. I also recorded them in a different way and I thought it looked very nice, but the audio never came up to my standards, so just never going to release those, but it's good practice. So up next, we got the Super Beings Origins Memoria Pro mouse pad. I do have the LG 27-inch OLED 240Hz gaming monitor that I'm going to give a full review on very soon. And also the same thing that I've been talking about for about half the time of this video, the Ultralight X, I'm going to give that a thorough review as well. I've been using that for about 2 weeks. So if you want to see all those things, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.